What's up, guys? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, crazy people, and anything else we find interesting. As usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so feel free to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments and let's get into it. All modifications must be restored to the original. I told this story to a friend. She suggested I share it here. My family and I moved into a house in 2008. 5 bedrooms, 3,200 square feet, $1,600 a month. It was a decent price in 2008, and the rent stayed the same for many years. Since I'm reasonably handy, I would fix things myself rather than bother an old man. I lived there so long that I also made quite a few upgrades. In 2024, the owner passed away and his son inherited the property. A week later, he gave notice of intent to inspect the property. During the inspection, he kept trying to open drawers and look through my belongings, which isn't legally allowed and was rude when I stopped him. As he left, he handed me a notice that my rent was increasing to $4,000 monthly, about $1,000 over market value. I would have paid higher rent if it had been reasonable, but I wasn't paying that much. My month-to-month lease was worded to require 3 months' notice to raise the rent. I pointed out this fact, then gave him notice that I would be moving out at the end of that 3 months. A few days later, I was served with an eviction notice. The month-to-month lease also required 3 months' notice to evict me without cause, so he tried evicting me with cause. He claimed I had made unauthorized modifications to the house and cited the back door with the dog door installed. I still had the original door in the garage and the previous owner's permission, so it was neither unauthorized nor a modification. Regardless, the judge decided I needed to move out within 30 days, or he would grant the eviction. Additionally, he explicitly ordered that all modifications be restored to the original. This is where the malicious compliance comes in, and I'm sure you already see this coming. All the smart house additions I made were removed. The tool shed in the yard was removed. The pond was filled in. Closet organizers were torn out. Garage organizers were removed. The updated appliances were replaced with basic models. Every update I made was removed, and then I moved out. He sued me for removing everything. His lawyer cited a law that says any changes to the property become part of the property, and it's illegal to remove them when vacating the property. However, my lawyer pointed out the order from the previous judge, stating all modifications must be restored to the original. I provided receipts for all the things I had removed, proving I had added them and was required to remove them. I won the case, and he had to pay my legal fees. A few months later, I got a call from his sister. Some of my mail had not been forwarded, and she wanted to ensure I got it. We had a short conversation about the entire ordeal. She told me the house was actually inherited by 4 siblings. Her brother had lied to everyone. First, he had raised the rent, knowing I would move out. He already had a deal to sell the house to one of those big rental companies. He told his siblings the house had negative equity and nobody would get anything from the sale. In reality, the house was paid off and worth about $700,000. They had made an offer on the house, which included all the stuff I later removed. He couldn't afford to replace everything, so they took him to court over the sale. Since all 4 siblings were listed as owners, all were named in the lawsuit, which is how they learned the truth. In the end, the house sold for $550,000. In exchange for not pressing fraud charges against him, his 3 siblings split the proceeds and he got nothing. Am I the asshole for telling my sister not to announce her pregnancy at my wedding because I was going to announce mine, but she did it anyway? I, 29 female, got married 3 months ago to my amazing husband, 31. It was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life, but my sister, 32, managed to overshadow it in a way that I can't seem to move past. A little background, my husband and I had been trying for a baby for a while, and when we finally got that positive test, we were over the moon. We decided we would share the news with our family and friends at our wedding reception. Nothing crazy, just a small heartfelt moment during the speeches. Only my parents and my maid of honor knew about this plan. A few weeks before the wedding, my sister pulled me aside to tell me she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her and we had a sweet moment together. Then she casually mentioned that she was planning to announce it at my wedding. I was shocked and told her as kindly as I could that I would prefer she didn't. I even explained why, because I was also pregnant and planning to share that news that day. I asked if she could just wait a little longer so the day could stay focused on the wedding. She seemed a bit annoyed but didn't argue much, so I thought that was the end of it. Well, fast forward to the reception, and guess what? Right after the speeches, she stands up, clinks her glass, and announces her pregnancy. The whole room erupts in cheers, and suddenly, my wedding turns into her pregnancy celebration. I was stunned. I didn't even get the chance to share my own news because it felt like I'd just be trying to one-up her. Later, when I confronted her, she acted like I was overreacting and said she just couldn't keep it in anymore. When I told her how hurt I was, she said I was selfish for wanting to control when people shared their happiness. My parents think she was out of line but are telling me to let it go for the sake of family peace. But I can't seem to move on. Every time I think about my wedding, I feel this bitter pit in my stomach because she took away a moment that was special for me. She, on the other hand, thinks I'm being dramatic and says I should be happy for her, instead of making everything about myself. So am I the asshole for not letting this go? And that brings us to the update. Hi again, Reddit. First of all, thank you for the overwhelming support and validation. It really helped me feel a lot less crazy. So a few people asked for an update and, well, things got petty. I'll admit it. I'm not proud of all of it, but I'm also not sorry. After the wedding drama, my relationship with my sister was icy at best. She kept acting like I was just being hormonal and selfish, and every time we spoke, she somehow turned herself into the victim. I finally decided if she thought I was selfish and dramatic, I might as well lean in just a little. A month later, my husband and I had a gender reveal party. Low-key, just family and a few close friends. We did not invite my sister. She found out through our cousin's Instagram post and texted me something snarky like, "Wow, guess I'm not family now?" I replied, "Well, I didn't want to risk you announcing something again and stealing the spotlight. Fair, right?" But the real revenge came at our baby shower. I had custom cookies made that said, "We waited our turn." One of the decorations was a sign that said, "One special day deserves its own celebration." A few people laughed, a few looked uncomfortable, but I saw my sister read the cookie and go very quiet. She asked if the cookie was about her. I told her, "If the shoe fits," and walked away. Now she's telling the family I'm the one being dramatic and petty. Ironic, no? But honestly, I don't care. I didn't ruin her wedding, she ruined mine. She can sit with that for a while. Also, my baby is due a week before hers. Guess who's going to be very publicly posting baby pics right as she's going into labor? Not saying I'll be timing it, but I'm not saying that either. Thanks again, Reddit. Sometimes petty justice is the only justice. Yeah, so OP's sister is not only being an attention hog, but she's also being dishonest about it. Her telling OP that she announced it at the wedding just because she couldn't hold it in anymore is just straight up not true. She definitely planned that beforehand while knowing that OP didn't want her to. Why she would want to do that and take the spotlight away from OP at her own wedding, I don't really know. There's probably some family history stuff and mental stuff going on there. But either way, that's really not cool. But yeah, one could argue that in the grand scheme of things, this kind of thing just isn't that big of a deal. But at the same time, it really is just about the principle of the matter, and the absolute disrespect that OP's sister intentionally showed by doing this. She knows that what she did was just not cool, but she's intentionally trying to take attention away from that by victimizing herself, saying that OP is just trying to control when she wants to share her happiness, when that's not even the case and that's not even what it's about. So yeah, she definitely ruined what should be a good memory for OP, and probably also did some damage to their relationship too. Hope it was worth it. But it's not like someone like her would ever admit that it was her fault. To her, it's all OP's fault for how she reacted. Neighbors assaulted me and took my daughter, later returned her, because of suspected attempt to drink and drive. Male, late 20s, Colorado. I quit drinking soda and energy drinks a few months ago. I haven't consumed alcohol in years, and I replaced that habit with drinking Martinelli's sparkling apple juice. The juice comes in 10-ounce glass bottles that look very similar to Corona beer bottles. Here lies my issue. This morning I was walking to my car from my apartment, and I had a bottle of my juice in one hand and my 1-year-old daughter in her car seat in the other hand. My neighbors basically jumped me from behind. One grabbed my daughter's car seat and the other was punching, kicking, and yelling at me. He was saying stuff like, "The nerve of you to drink and try to drive with your baby." As a result, my juice bottle shattered in the parking lot, cutting my hand. My cell phone screen is destroyed, and I think my nose is fractured. Most importantly, the neighbor who took my baby went inside the apartment with her, and it took 10 minutes of me explaining through the screen door that I was not about to drink and drive, but that I was drinking apple juice. This all just happened. I'm calling the cops. Any suggestions? By the way, I didn't get any apologies or anything from the neighbors. They said they were doing their duty to protect the community. Update. The police showed up. As soon as they pulled up, more than half a dozen neighbors came out and are giving witness reports. Update 2. Both men were arrested, and I will be making my way down to the police station in a few minutes. I will be talking to detectives. The police assured me, off the record, that both will be serving time because felonies were committed. Man, this is wild. I'm sorry, OP, I'm laughing just because of how ridiculous this is. It is awful, though. But man, how do you just attack someone unprovoked and say that you're doing your duty to protect the community? Absolutely insane. Even if OP was drinking and was walking to the car with a beer in hand, this would not be the way to handle it. Just beating someone up and taking their baby into your own home. These are people that are acting on their violent impulses under the guise of doing vigilante justice or whatever. If they were truly concerned that OP was about to drink and drive, they could have easily stopped him and inquired about it in a non-violent manner. I really hope the courts did not go easy on these guys. My roommate sets out a third plate for no one every night when we eat, and it's really creeping me out. My roommate and I have lived together for almost a year, and it's usually pretty normal. We usually eat together because she's a chef and likes to cook meals in order to save money on takeout. But for the last couple months, whenever she cooks dinner, she always sets out a third plate. It's not decorative or anything. She actually puts food on it, like a full serving, same as ours, usually the same meal we're eating. She'll set a glass of water or a drink next to it too. When I asked the first time, she said, "It just feels wrong not to," and changed the subject. I thought it was a one-time thing, but she's done it every night since. Even when I don't eat at home, I see the extra plate in the sink later. She never addresses the plate, never eats from it, never puts it away early. It just sits there while we eat. She clears it with ours when we're done. Like she will literally just throw the food away. Once I asked again, like kind of jokingly, "Who's the mystery guest?" And she just said, "They're not here yet," and looked at the chair for a bit. I don't know if it's a spiritual thing or if I should be worried. It doesn't feel threatening, just creepy. The food always goes in the trash afterwards. I checked. Yeah, that's certainly a bit strange, isn't it? And people in the comments are guessing that it could be a few different things. The main one being that maybe a loved one of hers passed away, or that she's trying to manifest something, like a partner, I guess. And also some people pointing out that it could be psychosis, which, I don't know, I guess that's possible. Instead of just dropping the subject when she makes some vague response about it, OP should inquire a bit more. Then it might become a bit more clear if it's more of a sensitive subject, like someone that's passed away. Or maybe it's one of the other above reasons. Anyway, friends, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this, and drop a comment down below. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time.